Hello and welcome to this episode of the podcast Widowhood Made Me Happier with me, your host, Tabby Kerwin. I'm very pleased to have you here. How are you doing? How has your week been since our last episode? It's been a full one here, but I want to talk to you about something really specific today. And it's something that I alluded to when I gave my TED talk. And it was a phrase that I used that said, you can be both broken and brilliant. And in grief, a lot of people describe themselves as feeling completely broken. They don't know how to go on. They can't see a pathway forwards. They feel like their heart is shattered into a million pieces. But essentially, they really feel like they're broken. And what I want to say to you, if you are that person and you are feeling like, I don't know how to move forwards with this, I don't know how my life is ever going to be the same. You are not broken. You are grieving, and it's a very different thing. But you can feel like you're broken, but at the same time of that, it's absolutely possible for you to do brilliant and amazing things that are fueled by purpose and an intention to help other people, or just to be brilliant in the stuff that you do. And that brilliance can be anything from getting up in the morning when the last thing in the world you feel like doing is getting up, or it could be some success at work or at home or in something that you enjoy doing. But I talk about this duality of emotions, that two emotions can and must coexist. It's really possible to feel like your world has shattered and you're sad and you're overwhelmed. You can feel all that in one hand, but at the same time, you can still do amazing things. You can still celebrate other people. You can celebrate the life of the person that you've lost. The two things are possible at the same time. There is a duality of emotions that's possible. And we have to allow for that, because I'll tell you this again and again and again, we're not getting over grief. We're not getting through our grief. It's here to stay, so we've got to start learning to grow with it. And that means we have to give ourselves permission to feel really sad or overwhelmed, but at the same time, keep going and doing amazing things and celebrating those amazing things and allowing ourselves to smile and giving ourselves permission to choose happiness and to create our happiness and to be happy, whether that is in the work we do, the life that we choose to live, the people that we choose to have friendships or further relationships with. We can choose that, and whatever is right for us is what's right for us. We can't judge our metric by the opinions of other people or what other opinions or what people think we should be doing in our grief or how we should be grieving, because all of us grieve individually. And that's really, really important to remember. So right now, if you are living with the loss of someone or something or a lifestyle or a pet or any of the things that mean that we experience grief and the ways that we experience grief, if you are in that place right now, please know it is absolutely possible to be broken and brilliant at the same time. But I want to caveat that with, you're not broken, you're grieving. What you're feeling is absolutely natural for you. And that might not be the same as how someone else who is grieving feels, okay? Because we're all completely different. Now, one of the biggest things I found in my grief, and especially in widowhood, because grief for me goes back a very long way from, I suppose, from the death of my dad when I was 16 and various things on top of that. But what I want to highlight is the amount of times I've been told I should be doing something a certain way. Don't you think you should be dating again now? Don't you think you should stop being sad now? Don't you think you should stop talking about your grief? I get told all these things by other people because it makes them feel more comfortable. It makes them feel like they've guided me in some way. And if I listen to the opinions of other people, I would probably be in a really dark place, because actually what I would be doing is trying to make them feel better rather than doing what was naturally right for me. So what I've chosen to do is just get attuned to my own grief and trust myself. Self-trust, that's a huge thing. And by trusting myself, what that allows me to do is grieve in the way that I need to grieve for me. And that's really, really important, because that's how you actually manage to balance this duality of emotions, how you actually manage to honor your sadness and feel overwhelmed and sad at the same time as celebrating the wins, the small wins, but then also going on to do bigger things and more successful things, maybe with your business, with your life. So I found it's really, really important to trust myself and focus on that self-trust, which comes from self-kindness. And if actually you can quieten that outside noise, the noise of the opinions of other people, if you can do that and you can acknowledge that perhaps they're trying to help, and you can, honor that with gratitude and say, look, thank you, but this is my grief. I have to navigate it my way. And then really take the time to think about, okay, what can I do today for myself? How can I be kind to myself? How can I accept the fact that this grief is with me forever and I have to find a way to grow with it because it's not going away? And I think when we start focusing on that aspect of grief, on ourselves, rather than just the sadness we feel, rather than focusing on the person or the thing that we've lost, when we put that focus on ourselves and turn that into self-kindness, that turns into self-trust. When we start trusting ourselves, we feel a little bit more confident. Now, we get told, especially as women, oh, you should be more confident, you should speak more confidently, you should do whatever you're doing more confidently, you need to build your confidence. And I hear so often people coming to me and saying, can you help me to build my confidence so I can perform better? It's like, actually, what you need is not to build your confidence. What you need is to build your self-trust. Because if you build your self-trust, that will lead to confidence, okay? But in order for self-trust to happen, we have to have self-kindness first. And that has to be the grounding. That has to be our ground zero. Go, okay, self-kindness, self-kindness. And that is possibly one of the hardest things to do when we're grieving. Be kind to ourselves, because our focus is so much on what we've lost, we completely lose sight of being kind to ourselves. And then when time's passed, and that could be a few days, weeks, months, years, however long, we tell ourselves, I shouldn't be feeling like this anymore. I should get over this. I should be feeling normal, whatever that is, and we stop being kind to ourselves. So we have to bring our ground zero, the point we come back to has to be self-kindness, because from that, we're going to build self-trust. From self-trust, that's going to automatically make our confidence flourish. And that is going to allow us to perform at our best. Or in our world of grieving, it's going to allow us to grow with our grief. And it's going to allow us to feel like this loss is unbearable and this sadness is unbearable at the same time as being absolutely brilliant. Okay? So yes, you can be broken and brilliant at the same time. But the fact is, you're not really broken at all. You're grieving. This is natural, okay? Whatever you're feeling, however your grief manifests, whether that is in sadness, whether that is in dark humour. Us widows, we do like a bit of dark humour now and again. However it manifests, that is right for you. But what you have to do is learn to kind of mold that into this cohesive way that you can flourish in your life, that you can grow with your grief. That's what you want to do. That's what I help people do. So know that whatever you are feeling is absolutely right. Know that it is absolutely possible to feel two things at the same time, to do two things at the same time, in terms of feeling really sad, but also choosing happiness. This duality of emotions is so important. But please know that the most important thing that you can do in your grief is be kind to yourself. Because that is the thing, the gatekeeper. Self-kindness is like the gatekeeper and the key holder to being able to grow with your grief. It starts with self-kindness. Imagine it as this like pyramid, and at the bottom is self-kindness. That is the base of everything we need to do. And then as we work up the pyramid, we work through to self-trust, to confidence, and that goes to flourishing. Okay, and that's what we want. Even when we're living with grief, because we are allowed to grieve and flourish at the same time. We are allowed to be intensely sad and talk about the person that we've lost and cry and have days where we just don't want to function and do anything. We are allowed to do that at the same time as choosing to build our business, to develop our careers, to choose to have another relationship. Whatever we choose to do, we are allowed to do that. But in order to allow it to happen, we have to come back to self-kindness. So if you take one thing from this today, be kind to yourself. Think about what you can do today for you that makes you feel good and that will help you to grow with your grief. Now, as always, if you are living with grief, if you are feeling like you don't know how to cope, you don't know how to manage, as always, in the show comments there will be signposting for you, also a link for some free resources to help you with your grief. If at all you have any questions, if you want to reach out to me, please do. My inbox is always open, and I would love to hear from you if you have any questions or things that you'd like to chat, or maybe you'd like to come on the podcast and talk about your grief, and that would be amazing. But as always, those signposting options will be in the comments. Have a great week. I will catch you on the next episode of Widowhood Made Me Happier.